Well, hey everybody, John Retlin here, and this is hashtag Ask for Honesty episode 9, second episode of the week. And going forward, as long as my work schedule allows, there's going to be an episode Wednesday evening that will be recorded that morning or afternoon, and then Saturday morning that will be recorded Friday evening like I'm doing right here. Also want to thank every single person, wrestling fan, fellow YouTube content creator, either or both. Thank you guys so much for the support for the channel. I love support. I love the support you guys give me. I try to give the support right back to you guys because whether we agree or disagree, healthy debates, it's always fun to have in wrestling or movies or music or whatever, because some of you guys actually ask movie and music related questions, and I'll get into some of those here in a bit. And I got some controversial ones to tackle, especially the first one that I'm actually happy to tackle because I feel I have a lot to say on it. But if you want to send a question, please leave a comment below this very video and I will include it in the next episode, or at least one of the next week's episodes. Or hit me up in DMs. Limit it to 3 to 4 questions if you're going to ask me questions, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter. And then that way I have enough chance to get detailed on everything. And that's a suggestion from a couple people, and thank you guys very much for that. It is very true. And I'm trying to figure out the best format. Or hit me up on Twitter. Check the pinned tweet that I put up Tuesday mornings or Thursday mornings. And the Tuesday one will be for Wednesday show. Thursday one will be for the Friday show. Use the hashtag Ask for Honesty and comment below that. So if I miss any of your questions, please send me a screenshot, tag me, and use the hashtag Ask for Honesty. I do apologize if I missed any of your guys' questions. I'm not ignoring you guys. So here we go, because I got a controversial one here, and from @Belena WWE, who I want to say I love talking to her, even if we disagree, which can be sometimes, often, depending on the issue. But I always love talking to her. I love her outspokenness on her Twitter, on her YouTube channel. She does great work herself. I love the fact that as young as she is, and I'm not being ageist here, but as young as she is, there are fans around her age that aren't informed at all. She is fucking informed and great. And sure, we may not agree, but she is absolutely wonderful to talk to. So just wanted to put her over right there because she asked me some questions. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from a lot of people for this. For how I answer it. But number one, thoughts on Jim Cornette's bigoted comments about Sonny Kiss. There's absolutely zero room for bigotry in the wrestling community. He will be blacklisted, and rightfully so. One, I do agree with you. There is no room for bigotry in the wrestling community. From fans, like a few of these dumbasses that were at AEW's Double or Nothing, where they were like transphobic, homophobic, racist, and this kind of stuff. And it's one thing to joke with friends because there are jokes and they're just being mean-spirited and being hateful and everything, and that's what these fans were doing. I got plenty of friends in the LGBTQ community and some family members and stuff like that, and that's part of the reason I got this shirt. That, and it was on sale at Hot Topic. But I joke with them, and they joke right back with me. Joking is one thing. What those fans did were personal attacks, and they were just being hateful, and I got a pretty good idea who they voted for. But even if they didn't, or even taking that out of the equation, they were fucking assholes. So I agree with you. There's no room for bigotry in the wrestling community. That being said, the comments about Sonny Kiss, as Jim Cornette said, they took place during his review of AEW's Double or Nothing with his co-host, the great Brian Last. And this is in regards to Sonny Kiss, by the way, who is an openly gay man, who's apparently engaged. I'm not familiar with who his fiance is. But apparently he tweeted out that he didn't like the comments and this kind of stuff and what Cornette said. And there have been people coming out in defense of Jim Cornette and against Jim Cornette. So it's in regards to the comments that he said. These are what Jim said. And, I'm not going to be able to quote them verbatim, but you'll have to listen to the audio. But he used terms like, describe his look. Sonny Kiss's look. Not his lifestyle or who he is. Not him being gay. Not anything like that, but just the look of a drag queen or a transvestite or his antics in the ring. That's what Jim Cornette said. He alluded to that kind of stuff. Nothing about how him being gay was bad. Those words never came out of his mouth. I'm sorry. They never did. And I listened to those comments a few times. So again, I'm not going to try to quote them. I encourage you guys to check out the audio and everything. And actually the review I thought was pretty fair, even though I didn't agree with everything. I am a card-carrying member of the Cult of Cornette. I did not agree with everything that Cornette or Brian Last said. But I respect them for their opinions. Now, were they poorly worded? Yeah, okay, I'll say that much. I can definitely agree with that. I think they were poorly worded. But I don't believe he's a bigot. I don't believe he's homophobic. I don't believe he's any of that stuff. He has been in full support of the LGBTQ community and has spoken out like that. He did video or like podcast pieces where he talked about the WWE going to Saudi Arabia and made comments about how, that government's stupid for like, their treatment of gay people and stuff like that, and the treatment of gay people here in the States and everything. He has spoken out in support of that. He just didn't seem to like the antics of Sonny Kiss or whatever, from what I could gather. Again, I am not in his head, and I can only go based on what I heard. I'm not in the guy's head, so I don't know. But I can speak as somebody that used to be racist, homophobic, transphobic, all that stuff back years ago. I'm talking in my teenage years up to very early high school. I can understand why some people, if some people had heard the stuff I said back then, none of you guys would be listening to me at all. If I was still that way, I wouldn't be able to live with myself because that kind of hate will eat you alive. I just do not fucking believe that it was bigoted. If it comes out that Jim Cornette is a bigot, that he is sexist, well, let's just focus on the homophobia and the transphobia. Let's just focus on that, the homophobia. If he turns out to be that against the LGBTQ community, okay. Then I will issue a rant and I will be in full rant mode and upset. But I do not believe that he is a bigot, and especially a bigot toward the LGBTQ community, since we're focusing on that right now. Again, he has spoken out in support. I don't always agree with everything he said. But for those that are saying, oh, you're wrong to support Jim Cornette, and you guys can have a right to your opinion, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not saying that you guys are wrong if you're upset about what he said. And apparently Sonny Kiss's family and his fiance are upset by what Jim Cornette said. Even though I don't believe any of it was malicious or bigoted, they have a right to be upset. They're in a situation I'm not. But I do not believe Jim was and is a bigot. I just don't believe it. I believe he's outspoken. He can be quite a bit of an asshole, and he can be insane, completely insane. And sometimes his views on modern wrestling go way too far and way too crazy, even though I get some of the stuff he says. I think he gets a little too fired up. And I hate to say it, but some of it's a little bit gimmicked up. I think he adds a little bit of spice and is working some of the people with how he talks about some of these things. And some of the stuff he believes it, and he goes a little bit too far with it. Sonny Kiss stuff, he could have worded it better. He definitely could have. I agree there. But I do not believe he's a bigot. And that much I have to say there. If people don't want to listen to his podcast because of this, fine. But if people think he should be blacklisted, that's fine. You can think that. I don't agree. But I also want to offer this. If you think that I'm a terrible person or I support bigotry and this kind of stuff, again, if it turns out that Jim Cornette isn't, I will have to denounce my Cult of Cornette membership. But if you think he's a bigot and you think I'm a terrible person because of that, can't I say the same thing about people that support Hulk Hogan despite the fact Hogan is an admitted racist? Can't I say that people that support Stone Cold Steve Austin support domestic violence and support, domestic abuse and all that stuff? People that support Benoit, can't I say that they support murder of family members or Snuka or that kind of stuff? A number of things. I am not defending anything, bigotry of any form. I am not defending that. I am not defending domestic abuse. I'm not defending racism. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. But there are plenty of people that make excuses for their favorites to mask, the fact, maybe they aren't the best people in the world. Maybe that's what I'm doing here. But as of now, I do not believe that he is any kind of bigot. I feel for Sonny Kiss, and hopefully he can do some great things in AEW, not just as a gay man, but as just a wrestler, an athlete. But it is great that he is able to be such a beacon of hope like Darren Young was. And Darren Young, unfortunately, wasn't used all that well in WWE. And who knows, maybe they'll bring Darren Young into AEW. That would be kind of interesting. I think he deserves a bit of a shot, even though I don't know if he's still wrestling. But there are those that are, okay, he's this and this. Cornette also, came out in support of Nyla Rose and said, she looked like a freaking monster. Which, by the way, Nyla Rose is a transgender woman who's gotten a ton of hate, by the way, and I fucking hate that. And if you got any problem, if you got a problem with Sonny Kiss being a gay guy, fuck you. If you got any problem with Nyla Rose being a transgender woman, fuck you. Oh, it's a guy, it's out there wrestling. Shut the fuck up. Go back to sucking Trump's goddamn dick, because that's what you should be fucking doing. You know, the mushroom-headed dick that it is, you know, with the tiny little hands and everything. Because that's all I gotta say about you fucking, you know, idiots. Making jokes are one thing. Having fun banter and everything. Not liking how some wrestlers are, the look of some wrestlers or whatever. Okay. That I get. That's part of being a fan. Being bigoted is not okay. So again, if it comes out that Jim is, then fine. I'm done listening to his podcast. Can't listen to him anymore, and I'm going to have to do that. But I choose to believe that Jim Cornette was not malicious, that he was angry about the antics of various wrestlers, including Sonny Kiss, in the Battle Royal, but that he did not mean it in a homophobic way. If I'm proven wrong, then okay. But that's where I know that answer was kind of all over the place and everything. I wanted to be as detailed as possible. You can say that I'm dancing around the issue, but I present it to you. Did I present anything bad as far as like Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Benoit, that kind of stuff? Did I present anything bad? Did I present anything wrong? If you think that I'm being too lenient on Cornette, oh no. I totally get where you guys are coming from, but I'm choosing to believe him now with a body of work. So, that being said, thank you, Valena, for saying that question. You have 3 more questions here, by the way. Great questions, by the way. Please don't hate me for that answer, but I totally get if you're fired up about this, and I encourage you to speak out, and I encourage anyone else to speak out if you are against what Jim Cornette said. But understand that I am a fan of his, don't always agree with him, but I get where you guys are coming from. So, I spent a lot of time on that question, so here we go. Number 2, who do you think will be the first ever AEW Women's Champion? She says, I hope Nyla gets it first to prove a point to the bigots. She belongs. She does. And here's the thing. It's sad that in 2019 we have to focus on the fact, and I'm not saying you, but that some are like, okay, it's such a big deal that a transgender woman or a gay man, or a gay woman or this kind of stuff, like Sonya Deville and WWE and this kind of stuff are, oh, it's such a big deal. It's this, it's this, it's this. They're all, they're all this, they're out and they're proud and everything. It's like people are acting, and some people are acting, and I'm not saying everybody, because generally a lot of people have been more accepting, myself included, especially in the last 20 years of my life. God, I was so fucking hateful when I was younger. But so many people, if they think that homophobia, anybody in the LGBTQ community, that this stuff just suddenly sprung up. Oh no, this shit's been going on for a number of years, a number of decades, a number of centuries, and people just don't want to fucking admit it because they got their nose stuck in a freaking storybook and everything. And yeah, I'm calling it a storybook. I'm calling any form of that a storybook. You know what I'm talking about. But back to the question. I do hope Nyla gets it. That's why it's going to be Britt Baker. I think you and I both agree it'll probably be Britt Baker. Nyla winning it would be awesome because even putting aside the fact that she's a transgender woman, which I'm not saying should be ignored, she is an athlete. She is somebody who can be a great monster heel. And I was impressed with what I saw. Now, I thought the 4-way with the women, I thought it was a tale of 2 matches. You had Kong and Nyla, and then you had Britt and Kylie Rae. And she sent in a great question, by the way, recently about Kylie Rae. Valena did. And I got into that because it was a comparison between her and Bayley, mainly about Cody's comments. But with Nyla, I do hope she gets it. Nyla does deserve it because Nyla is really good. Nyla's legit. She is a great athlete. And also, yes, if you, include the fact, not just as an athlete, but that she's a transgender woman, it can be a beacon of hope to so many women, and so many people in general, whether they're transitioning or whether they're LGBTQ, whatever. Doesn't matter what member of the, what label they have in that community, they can just be such a beacon of hope. Nyla should get it. I hope Nyla does. I hope they crown a women's champion at All Out, and that Nyla is the one to get it. And then Britt could take it from her at some point, and then you got Britt Baker and Kylie Rae feud over it like sometime next year. Nyla getting a dominant win, Nyla getting a dominant title reign, feuding with Awesome Kong, feuding with Aja Kong, or other women that were in that Joshi women's match. I'm sorry. I try to say it like Durb, and I really can't because I don't sound like I can't do the high voices like he can. But Joshi. So I'm trying. I really am. There were a couple women in there I'd like to see get a shot, but Nyla would be my choice. I think it's gonna be Britt Baker because, as you said in the previous question, like I believe for last week's episode, if they are pushing her like Charlotte, it will, or they're trying to make her their Charlotte. It's probably going to be Britt Baker, but my choice would be Nyla. It would set the tone. It would say, hey, it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. If you are a great athlete, it doesn't matter if you're straight, LGBTQ, you fucking belong. And that would be actually a great moment. So I hope that Nyla gets it, but I think Britt's going to be the one to get it. And then number 3, one male, one female talent that you'd be okay seeing released from AEW. You know, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not even sure on their full roster. I was going to joke and say Cody and Brandy, but no. I don't see Aja Kong lasting very long. Aja Kong's almost 50. I mean, I'm not even trying to be ageist. She's still good in the ring, but I don't see her lasting very long. For the men, God, you know, Jack Evans, I just don't really care for Jack. I mean, I got nothing against Jack Evans. He can still move pretty well, but I would not miss Jack Evans if he was like in there for 6 months and then gone. I mean, and again, he may not be signed. I'm not sure about everybody who's been signed by the company. Because you check one source and then another source could be totally different. So Aja Kong, even though I love her, and Jack Evans, but I don't want to see anybody get released for a while. But I mean, I know you were just asking who would I like to see released. That would be it. That's probably the question I'm going to spend the least amount of time on, only because I can't really think of anybody. Because I sure don't want to see Sonny Kiss, you know, or anybody like that released. Because Sonny Kiss deserves a chance in the spotlight. And hopefully once, you know, he's put in singles matches or tag matches and this kind of stuff on the stage. I know he worked in Lucha Underground for a bit. I want to see more of what he can do outside of just being comedic and everything. Because he looks like he can actually work. But again, I haven't seen enough of his matches. If you know some good Sonny Kiss matches, please leave them in the comments. If you know some good Nyla Rose matches, please leave them in the comments. Leave links in the comments. And I will make sure to check those out. And I will shout you guys out in another video. But number 4, her question, Valana's question, that is, what the hell do you think the WWE is doing with Drew McIntyre? They keep squandering every solid opportunity they have with him. Fucking right, 100%. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. He should have been champion at Crown Jewel. They should have just had him win the Universal title over Braun instead. I don't know why the fuck they didn't. We didn't need to have Lesnar be the champion. Because you could have McIntyre be the champion into WrestleMania, had him lose it to Rollins and stuff like that, because I'm sorry, you didn't need Lesnar back. Vince is basically not morally, but creatively bankrupting the company by giving Brock so many millions, basically just to keep others down. And that's not even on Brock, it's on Vince. But they've squandered 2 different opportunities with him that I can think of. Heading into Crown Jewel, he could have been champion, sure, okay. Maybe you give it to Brock, and then you have Drew McIntyre beat him at Survivor Series, something like that. And you just do a quick title transition. Or you could have had him win it. Like, you probably should have had him win Money in the Bank and cash in instead of having Braun be the one. Or have him win Money in the Bank here and for this year and have him lording over everybody. And then he eventually maybe jumps to SmackDown and cashes in on Kofi Kingston, that kind of stuff. That would be pretty fun to do. They have squandered a lot of opportunities with him, and quite frankly, I'm fucking pissed off about it. He has every look. He has the size. All that beef, pal. All that beef, that Scottish. God damn it. I need to stop doing the Vince voice. The whole point is he has all that Scottish beef, and he has the ability to talk. He has the ability to be the guy. And for some fucking reason, look, I get that Brock is legit. People like the beatbox Brock. I didn't, but whatever. People like stuff and comedic stuff, and I don't mind comedic stuff in wrestling. I'm just sick of Brock. If Brock wasn't back for like a year, or if they didn't bring back Brock until like SummerSlam, okay, cool, whatever. He's here, and maybe he's not in title matches. That's fine. But with Drew, they have ruined every opportunity they've had with him. If they don't strike while the iron's hot with him soon, he's just going to be another guy. He's just going to be an upper mid-card guy. He's been decently protected except in that feud with Reigns. Because he lost every single match. He lost a match at Mania and then he lost a rematch a few weeks later. And now, is he even going to be doing anything besides the Battle Royal Super Showdown? By the way, Super Showdown in a week. In a week. I will be reviewing Super Showdown, by the way, in case anybody wants to send me hate over that. Saying, well, you support LGBTQ rights, yet you're going to watch that. I also have a channel to, do content for, and people want me to review it. And also, I like to rant. I have to see bad wrestling to know how bad it is. With Drew, they have screwed up a lot with him. I am sick of it. If he is not in the main event, I'm talking the champion by next Mania, he should ask for his release. I'm serious. He should fucking ask for his release. Because he came back in 2017. That will have been 3 years that he's basically been back, almost 3 years. And what the fuck have they done with him? Yeah, he's had a tag title run. I mean, he had an NXT title run. He dropped it to Andrade, and that was fine. But on the main roster, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. He still looks like a badass. He's legit. The Claymore kick, the headbutt. And just the fact that he's an intimidating son of a bitch with all that Scottish beef. But he's going to be seen as a loser. He's going to be seen as an upper mid-card monster guy, but nobody that anybody thinks can get the job done. That's unfortunately what Drew's going to end up being unless they capitalize. I would have him jump to SmackDown and take title from Kofi Kingston at SummerSlam. But they're not going to do that. Because Roman's on SmackDown, even though this wildcard rule is a fucking joke. And that's big. That's a big problem. The wildcard, Brock winning the Money in the Bank and the wildcard rule has kind of minimized what Drew can do. And now he's just Shane's lackey, and it's pretty fucking stupid. So I just don't fucking get that. But those are your questions, so hope I gave those enough time. Guys, I got some other questions here. Ones that I may not get as detailed on. Some are good, some I won't have as much detail to provide. But at Jeremy8911 has a couple questions. Now that the U.S. title is vacated, Rey Mysterio vacated the title, by the way, for those who don't know, due to injury. Shocking, Rey's injured. Do you think we should get a tournament ending in another match between... Sorry, I wrote this poorly. Ending in another match between Cesaro and Ricochet at Stomping Grounds. I love tournaments. I love your idea. I'm not opposed to that. Here's the problem with it. They're not going to hype Stomping Grounds until after they get back from Saudi Arabia, which is going to be that following Monday. So, 8th, 9th, 10th. Stomping Grounds is the 23rd. So unless they suddenly want to announce a tournament and say it's an 8-person tournament and stuff like that, and they have the quarterfinals, and then they have, the quarterfinals one week, and then the semifinals the next week, and then they have the finals there. Okay, that could sort of work, but that's really hot shot and quick. I think they could do a long-term program here. One, they should do a 16-person tournament, include some from SmackDown, even if they aren't going to win, include some from 205 Live, and extend this until Extreme Rules, which is in just over a month. I think about 6 weeks. And by the way, there are people that are wondering if I'm going to be reviewing every single pay-per-view. Yes, I will be reviewing WWE pay-per-views, despite the dip in quality. I do like going to indie shows. Derb will be going to the indie show, so I will be reviewing those pay-per-views myself. But I'm going to be honest, I'm going to start probably wanting to go to some more of these indie shows. I'm going to do what I can to provide channel content for you guys. But don't be shocked if I do it and get a little more angry, because I love my wrestling. But WWE has kind of burned me. That's why I'm happy to watch New Japan and why I hope AEW takes off. But I like your idea of a tournament final between Cesaro and Ricochet. Hopefully they could be given 20 minutes, tear it up, feud over the title, maybe give it to Cesaro. If they did that idea and they did 8 people, the 4 matches on Raw, and then the semifinals on Raw the next week, and then it was Ricochet and Cesaro won, then Cesaro could put Ricochet over at SummerSlam, and that would be fine. And maybe you could even do a best of 7 series, like Cesaro does this, and if whoever wins the most, and I think that was something else that you suggested at one point, a best of 7 series. Maybe they could do that. Maybe they could have a disputed finish and everything, and Cesaro could win. But Ricochet's like, well, you cheated. We need to do this. Oh, let's do a best of 7 series. And you have it take place on a subsequent Raw. Maybe one on a house show, one at Extreme Rules, and you build up to it till SummerSlam. Because you got a couple months, you could do that. You could do 7 matches, after Stomping Grounds. You could do that, and you could spread out and everything, and it can matter. And you could just have a whole lot of fun with it. So I like that idea. I do like the idea of tournaments, because I love me some tournaments. And then he sent me a second question. Thoughts on Owens' Undisputed Era post tease is basically what it was. So it was like Adam Cole putting up something or whatever, and it was like something about vote Adam Cole or vote Kevin Owens. And then Kevin Owens sent a screenshot or posted a picture of him in the Undisputed Era with all other 4 members. You'd be representing Ring of Honor and stuff like that, which actually might be a pretty cool faction. I'm for it. It would give Owens something to do. If you're going to call it the Undisputed Era, call him up to SmackDown, that would be a hell of a way to do it. And that would be a dominant faction. Tag champions, Intercontinental champion, WWE champion, make Bobby Fish the 24/7 champion. If the 24/7 title lasts that long, please don't fucking do that. I'm not really sure what to exactly do, but they could have Roderick, O'Reilly, and Fish do the Freebird rule with the tag titles. Owens could be the Intercontinental champion. Adam Cole could be the WWE champion. Or you flip it, Cole could be the Intercontinental champion for a while. Owens could be the WWE champion. You could do that. The problem is they're not going to be doing that. Brock's going to probably walk out and be Brocky 2 belts at Saudi Arabia. You know they'll do it. You know they'll fucking do it. I like the idea. I don't think they're going to do it, but I'd be all for it. And then we get AJ, AT, 800. Between the following categories, what are your favorite films in each? Sci-fi, action, drama, comedy, fantasy, horror, favorite trilogy, and also favorite superhero movie. And I'm going to be quick on this because I only got about 11 minutes left in the show, but also I don't want to get too detailed on these. Sci-fi, Fifth Element. Fifth Element pretty much leap out as my favorite sci-fi movie. I'm going to throw Monster movie in there, and I'm going to say The Host from South Korea. That was a great movie. Or Creature from the Black Lagoon. Action, Die Hard. First Die Hard. Drama, Lady Bird. Lady Bird was a really good drama. It was more of a comedy drama, but Lady Bird would probably be it. Comedy, The Naked Gun. Movies, I'll say the Naked Gun trilogy. So that's actually probably my favorite trilogy. That or Scream. And fantasy, Princess Bride. Princess Bride or Willow. Those are two really good fantasy movies. Horror, Psycho. Psycho would be it. Psycho is my favorite horror movie of all time. Us would be up there also, but I would say Psycho for sure. I just love Alfred Hitchcock. I have a collection of Alfred Hitchcock movies on my rack. I don't know why I point here. On my rack over there. I actually have a few others. I have movies like I have a collection that's got North by Northwest, Vertigo, Psycho, Rear Window, and The Birds. And I got a few singular discs, which are like Rebecca Spellbound, Strangers on a Train. Strangers on a Train might be his most underappreciated movie, which is weird because it's a very highly praised movie. But for that, I would say the favorite trilogy, the Naked Gun movies, which I know is a bit weird. Leslie Nielsen comedies, and back before OJ became a murderer, or the Scream movies. Other than that, I mean, yeah, you could go with the Star Wars movies and stuff like that, but some of those kind of lose their luster. Maybe the original Indiana Jones trilogy, even though people dog Indiana Jones 2, and I don't get it because Indiana Jones 4 exists. And they're going to do Indiana Jones 5 at some point. Fucking why? Why do you need to do a fifth Indiana Jones? Harrison Ford already looked too fucking old in the other one. But then fave superhero movie, a lot to mention. Chronicle would be one. Iron Man 2. Two Avengers movies. I have yet to see. I haven't been able to keep up on enough of them. Winter Soldier would be one. Captain America Winter Soldier would actually probably be one if you held me down and basically forced me to answer the question before you let me up. That would probably be it. Yeah, that would probably be it. Like, I mean, Chronicle, just some other stuff like that. I mean, I haven't seen Infinity War or Endgame. I just haven't had time. I simply have gotten so burned out on superhero movies that I haven't had a chance. But yeah, Iron Man, that kind of stuff. I know Ninja Assassin wasn't necessarily one, but I think Ninja Assassin was a pretty fun, fun action movie. Super 8, I enjoyed Super 8. Super 8 was absolutely terrific. That's another sci-fi movie I think that deserves a whole lot of mention. But Fifth Element is still my favorite sci-fi movie of all time. Yeah, fave superhero movie, there's a lot. There's a whole lot to them. Dark Knight Rises, actually. Dark Knight Rises. Throw that one out. That'll be my personal pick. And then if you want to throw out monster movies, obviously Godzilla King of the Monsters or some other stuff like that. Jaws and a few others. And I mean, horror movies, I'm actually going to have like a top 25 favorite horror movies of the last 25 years and another top 25 favorite horror movies of the last 25 years. And I might just combine them and say top 50 horror movies of the last 25 years and just do that because there's been a host of really great movies. And that's probably going to be out at some point. And credit to Abby, Abby VX, I believe that's her Twitter handle. Abby, forgive me if you're watching this if I got that wrong. That's ABBYVX. She's really cool to talk to, super awesome. Very random poster, but very, very cool to talk to. But I hope I answered your questions okay, or your multitude of questions there. Okay, AJAT 800. But I had to rush through some of that because otherwise we'd be here all day answering stuff about movies. But I'm glad you asked me about that. And then reviewer John809, favorite band of the 2000s, Within Temptation. Didn't even have to think about it. That's a band that got me through a couple bad breakups. One of my favorite singers of all time, Sharon Den Adel, Adele, I think it's Adele. Absolutely just enchanting voice, fucking knockout beauty, just absolutely captivating on stage. I have yet to see Within Temptation in concert. I'm very disappointed by that, but Within Temptation would be it, hands down. I go with some pop groups and stuff like that and whatever, but it's like Within Temptation, hands down, my favorite band of the 2000s, my favorite band of this decade. I love Within Temptation. They've gotten me through a lot of shit. And maybe if I can see them in concert, I can do a meet and greet thing and just thank them for getting me through so much stuff. And yet, just a little serious post. I do suffer from depression. I do apologize for layering that stuff on you guys, and your guys' conversations and stuff like that help me. I don't want to make that sound bad, but for years and years, over a goddamn decade, Within Temptation has helped with that. So anyway, that's my favorite band of the 2000s. And then, kind of a question I answered a little bit before by a previous person, but at A Freaky Dude on Twitter, do you think Adam Cole will get punished as well as Peyton Royce and Renee Young, despite Adam being on NXT for supporting his girlfriend on AEW? I think it was Valena that asked us about Peyton Royce. Vince is paying enough to punish people. He will probably punish Peyton. I mean, her and Billy have already been losing every single match that they've had. Non-title, of course, despite still being the tag team champions. Fuck, they're the Midnight Express in 1990. They are. Vince is Jim Herd now with the Midnight Express. It's fucking ridiculous. Despite that, the Iconics are still tag team champions. I love the Iconics. I think the Iconics are great, but they're always fucking losing. I would not be surprised if Peyton Royce gets punished. And Renee Young could be on her way out. Who the fuck knows? It could be like an AJ Lee situation after CM Punk left. Excuse me. As for Adam Cole, baby, I think he could if he was on the main roster. Maybe in NXT, I don't know. I think if he loses at TakeOver, and by the way, I am recording this before TakeOver, so if you watch this after TakeOver 25, excuse me for not possessing the giant type of space brain necessary to be able to see into the future. So, with Adam, I think he could be punished if he was on the main roster. If he loses to Johnny Gargano, it's not going to be a punishment. I would think that eventually people need to realize that there are significant others, whatever way you swing. Straight, LGBTQ, doesn't matter. If you got a significant other in another company and you tweet your support about them, you should not be punished. Toe the company line, sure, but love does come first. But don't forget, Vince is the same guy that made a fucking mistake by, excuse me, by the way, allergies are kicking up. Vince is the same guy that, that mistook the fact that, Lana shouldn't be with Rusev. Rusev's so goddamn ugly, and punished him accordingly because of that, because Vince is a goddamn idiot. So no, would I be surprised if he punished all three of them, one or all three of them? No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. It'd be dumb, because they're still under his employ and he's paying them a bunch of money, so why bury them because they happen to be dating somebody that's in another company? It's just fucking stupid. But it's something I would expect Vince to fucking do. Critical Sting on YouTube has a couple questions here. Bigger missed opportunity in both Impact and WWE. Elijah Burke, D'Angelo Dinero in Impact, or Damian Sandow, Aaron Rex in Impact. Splitting them. Elijah Burke in WWE, I didn't think was going to be any more than a mid-card guy. D'Angelo Dinero in Impact, they had a fucking chance to make a champion, make a star. Now, I think he had a shoulder injury or an arm injury at Lockdown 2010, which is why after that great build that he had against AJ, he lost suddenly because he needed surgery. And I get that. But after that, they still could have pushed him. Now, yeah, that injury sort of derailed stuff, but then they just used him in the mid-card and didn't really use him well at all. Then he had a thing with Devon, trying to control Devon's kids, and then he was gone from TV, and then he was back on commentary at some point, and that was it. He was just forgotten about as a fucking wrestler. He's a bigger missed opportunity in Impact. No offense against Damien Sandow, but Damien Sandow and Impact never worked for me. Aaron Rex, I thought he did fine. I didn't really get why they did the Liberace thing with him. It wasn't that it wasn't that I had an issue with the gimmick. I just didn't think it seemed like him. Even though he seemed like he was having fun, and I believe it was, Drake, now the Drake Maverick or whatever, Rockstar Spud, they seem to be having fun with it. It was a gimmick that went nowhere. WWE screwed up big time with Damien Sandow. They screwed up big fucking time with Damien Sandow twice. They cashed in 2013 and not focusing on Mizdow and actually using him well. I just don't understand how they thought that guy, deserved to be punished like that. It just made no sense. The guy was organically over twice, and they fucking screwed him up. It's like now they're doing the same thing with Rusev. So to answer your question quickly, D'Angelo, De Niro, and Impact, and Damien Sandow in WWE. Bigger missed opportunity for De Niro and Impact and Sandow in WWE, because you flip him, Elijah Burke's never going to be anything in WWE besides a mid-card guy, maybe, and Aaron Rex is never going to be anything more than a lower-card guy, even though I think he was the grand champion when they still had that championship. Remember that? That was a fucking, trash heap and a half. None of it has a 24/7 title, but still pretty shit. But that's what I gotta say about that. They screwed up Sandow, now they're screwing up Rusev, and they're screwing up a whole bunch of others because they got too many people on the fucking roster. So now, final question, really, really quickly, because this one's going to be easy to answer. What retired / older women's wrestlers do you think would thrive in the most in today's era? Victoria would be one, and Molly Holly. Because I'm going with ones that are alive. If we want to go with ones that had passed on, if they were still alive, Chyna perhaps could be somebody to make a couple one-offs. Or Luna Vachon, obviously, Sherry Martel. You could use women of that were in the past to do well, but they are no longer with us. So I'll say Victoria and Victoria and Molly Holly. I think it'd be good to use them for one-offs. Use them in AEW. They could do well. But anyway, folks, that's it. Do you agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I got allergies. I'm going to go and sleep. I'll see you soon.